behind, a little frailer, maybe just a touch straighter than totally ideal. So I think when we compare her to our other class winner, it's probably fairly simple where the decision for me is for reserve. I do think you could argue that a bit, but I'm going to keep these two big heifers out of the older class together. That'll be your champion and your reserve. Congratulations.
And your Division III champion heifer goes to entry number 157 PCCWJ Ella's Lady, a 344L, exhibited by Pate Parson of Leavenworth, Kansas. And your reserve division goes entry number 2, 151 3S's Magnoni, exhibited by Andrew Meyer of Clinton, Tennessee. Again, congratulations to those exhibitors. Here is Class 38.
Very nice single entry July heifer here. A female that's got some shape to her. A female that's good in her rib cage and balances up with the front end. One of those that's not extreme in her head and neck or anywhere through that front end, but one that balances good. She's good in terms of her femininity. She's good in terms of her center body. I think agile enough when we ask her to go. Just a good, solid single entry here in this July.
And first place over in Class 38 in your maintainer female show goes entry number 158, PCC Dat Shiny Darlin, 318L, exhibited by Cody Heath of Piedmont, Oklahoma. Congratulations. Now in the ring is Class 39 maintainer females. And again, we are starting our limousine show over here in Broadbent Arena with Class 1. Again, now in the ring is Class 1 limousine females. At this time, I would like to take this time to introduce your judge for your limousine show, Mr. Andy Higgins. Andy is a native of Auburntown, Tennessee, where he and his wife, Kate, along with his family, operate Higgins Farms. Their herd consists of Key Angus, Charolais, and Angus cattle that are focused around producing high-quality seed stock and show cattle. They exhibit cattle nationally and market their cattle through online sales and private treaty sales on the farm. He is active in the American Kennel Association, where he was honored as the 2015 ACA Herdsman of the Year and has served on the board of directors. Additionally, Andy is involved in his family's real estate and auction company and operates a livestock photography service with clients across the U.S. Andy is a 2009 graduate of Middle Tennessee State University, where he received his degree in agribusiness. He has judged cattle shows at the North American Cattlemen's Congress, the American Royal and National Junior Angus Show, and numerous other shows over 15 states across the country. If you could join me in giving Mr. Andy Higgins a round of applause.
Well, good evening here. So we get things kicked off in this limousine show. Certainly a pleasure to be out here. Been looking forward to this since I got the call to evaluate these cattle here in the limousine breed at the North American. And we got a good class here to kick things off. Three May heifers in here, and some differences I think we have in these three in size and just construction. And I'll tell you how I see them. This heifer that we're going to lead things off with is simply just the combination heifer of the two that stand behind her. I think she's one that when you study her through her rib cage, I like the boldness she has there. I like the genuine width this one has when we get around behind her. You study this female's hind leg, and she's really good in the set to her hock on down to the ground. We look at her when she gets her parked here, and that one's long-necked. I like the presence she has up front. She's just very balanced, and that's why she wins the class for me. Heifer in second here, there's no doubt this one stands out in terms of her look. She's about as clean necked, she's about as tight throated as you can make one. She too is big and bold ribbed. For me, when we study this one, I think she reads a little more on the moderate side as we project her size on down the road. She gets a little rounder out her hip for me and maybe just a shot smaller at the ground. We round things up. We're with a heifer that no doubt's got the advantage in terms of size out here. She's by far the biggest one, and for a May, she's got plenty of size for me. With that extra size, probably just a little coarser there about her head and neck, maybe just not quite the genuine power when we get around behind her.
Heifers over here on the maintainer side. To me, a fairly logical place within this class. We got the one that starts at, to me, just a little fresher, a little freer, a little more agile as she goes, a little stouter bone, stouter footed female that's significantly neater and trimmer and more feminine up through that front third of her body. Super long-sided, plenty of muscle when we get in behind her for a female, all kinds of power and dimension, just a very nice female. I do like a lot of things about this heifer in second. She is huge middle. She is awesome in her forerib, from her shoulders back through her body cavity is really impressive. I really like the way they've presented this female in terms of her udder. Obviously really starting to form a beautifully structured udder down there with 4 nice teats right there on the corner. For me, I'd like to freshen her up through that front end. She's a little shorter, a little chubbier, a little wastier down through that brisket. Doesn't want to get out and go quite like that class winner, but a really nice top pair. Then we run into a heifer in third that certainly is probably the highest quality one without a doubt that we've closed the class with here today. This one's got length, this one's got extension, she's fresh, she's balanced. She just doesn't maybe have the overall look of that top pair, the overall stoutness and power maybe of that top pair, but a very, very nice heifer there in third as well.
And first place in Class 39 over in your maintainer female show goes to entry number 500, Rose Boom 74 ET, exhibited by Landry Tibbetts of Mineral Point, Wisconsin. Second place goes entry number 163, KABG Dermy 360L, exhibited by Macy Schroeder of Pellet, Iowa. Third place goes entry number 160, BAM Moxie Girls, exhibited by Rosalind Kidwell of Gentryville, Indiana.
As we pull our intermediate division back in here, I think it's been a good division. We've only had 4 animals in here, but all 4 of these have some quality. All 4 of these are excellent animals. For me, though, it's pretty logical to keep these 2 out of the last class together. Congratulations. That'll be your champion in the reserve.
And your Division 4 champion will go to entry number 500, Rose Boom 74E, exhibited by Landry Tibbetts of Mineral Point, Wisconsin. And in your reserve division, we'll go to entry number 163, KABG Dermy 360L, exhibited by Macy Schroeder of Apella, Iowa. Again, congratulations. Now entering the ring will be Class 40 maintainer females.
Here in our April class on the Limousine side, a good class here, and once again, some differences to sort through here in terms of where these heifers are at in their maturity and in the development in terms of their of flesh they got on them. And I think the female here that comes to the top for me is just the best combination of everything in this class. Female that gives you a nice look up front. She's good-headed. She's nice-necked. She's one that opens up and into just a really bold rib cage. We'll get around behind this one, and there's plenty of power there, too. I think this female When we set her in motion, maybe doesn't always set down with the utmost comfort right there at the ground in those rear two pasterns, but yet I still think acceptable when we look at the rest of this female and see the quality she has in relation to the rest of the class. Good way to start off. From there, we roll into the heifer that I think no doubt is the greenest one here in this class. She's probably carrying the least condition on her. We really study the skeleton on this one. I love her hind leg. I love the flexibility she has there from her hock down to the ground. We question, will she ever body down any? She probably doesn't have quite the center body and depth of the heifers on either side of her, but taking into consideration she's a little skinnier than the others, and I give her the benefit of the doubt here in this class. Heifer comes next. I think we get her parked. She's one that does have just a shot more body than the heifer right in front of her. I appreciate the added foot size and bone this one has and the added length. So when we set her in motion, she just wants to get a little easier there in her loin, wants to drop her top some, and just gets a bit more uncoordinated when we study her on down to the ground and the way she moves. We're round things off here with a really stout featured kind of female. With that, she's probably a little coarser there about her neck. Maybe it just doesn't have quite the set to her knee and needs to be more laid back there. And if we could do that, I think she'd get out and move a little freer and easier. But all in all, good class here, April females.
And catching you up over in your Limousine show, placings in Class 1 are as followed. First place goes to entry number 110, Cell Miracle 4182, exhibited by Aaliyah Hayes Byers of Kingport, Tennessee. Second place goes entry number 4, LRCC Miss Marvel 402M, exhibited by Trace M. Falkenstein of Owensgo, Kansas. Third place goes entry number 3, Senate Mystery 27M, exhibited by Cora Burns of Macy, Indiana. Please note, entry number 1 was a scratch.
Over here on the maintainer side, a pretty logical placing for me. We're going to leave them just as they walked in here. This heifer that wins excels pretty well when we put them on the move. She just excels for her length and extension up through her front end, the femininity she has through that front third, the power she has in behind, and just the flexibility and soundness that she possesses. If you wanted to pick on her, she's maybe just a little tighter in that forerib in relation to the heifer that we have here in second, but I think that's an outstanding individual to win. That for in second from her shoulders back. You could make an argument for her in terms of her body cavity and just in terms of her balance from her forerib all the way back to her flank. She's a little shorter fronted heifer. It's a little more opened up in her chest, a little tighter or a little heavier there through her brisket, and like to just lengthen her out and freshen her up through that front third. I also think in relation when I get behind her, probably not the power that we have in our class winner. Certainly more than enough for a female, though. Very high quality one there in second as well. I think in third and fourth, there's a little bit more argument to be made here in this pair. The heifer in third, though, to me, follows the type of our top pair in terms of just stout, powerful, rugged built kind of a female. She's a little maybe steerier up through that front end in terms of just shorter necked and deeper chested, and just like to give her a little bit more maternal shape to that center part of her body. And we follow her then with a female. It's just a little bit more refined, a little smaller bone, smaller footed, a little narrower gauge kind of a female than the top end of this class.
And placings in class number 40 over your maintainer female show. First place goes entry number 167, Dunk Lydia 381L, exhibited by Carly Berkhammer of Dillsburg, Pennsylvania. And second place in that class goes entry number 168, L-Man J-Boy Miss All In, exhibited by Riley Short of Masonville, Iowa. Third place in that class goes entry number 176, BBDK Temperatures, exhibited by Kendra Stevens of Lebanon, Ohio. Fourth place goes entry number 177, JCC Luna 31L, exhibited by Skaggs Family Show Cattle of West Union, Ohio. Please note entry number 175, 173, 172, 171, and 169 were scratches. Now making their way into the ring will be Class 41 Maintainer Early Spring Yearling Heifers. And first place over in your Limousine show in Class 2 goes entry number 9, TSSL BTOM Destiny's Child, exhibited by Emma Graft of Middletown, Ohio. Second place goes entry number 7, Legacy's Melody, exhibited by Jocelyn Ruppert of Witt, Illinois. Third place goes entry number 6, Senate Miami 26M, exhibited by Clayland Burns of Macy, Indiana. And fourth place goes entry number 5, JABK RCC Mesa 2420, exhibited by Jackson Kidd of Sandy Hook, Kentucky.
Well, perhaps the deepest class we've had thus far over here on the Limousine ring. And these 5 heifers out here are a perfect example that good cattle come in different shapes and different sizes because we've got some really good cattle all the way through this class, and it becomes a bit more challenging for me to sort through them. I'll tell you how I see them and where my priorities laid here amongst these 5. Heifer that is going to win the class here, no doubt she's on the bigger end of this class, and she's got plenty of size to her for me. But I think when we step back and we analyze the cattle, just in terms of quality, she's still got the most of the 5 in this class. I love this heifer's head and neck, the way it ties in there, and the presence it creates for this female. She's one that's got plenty of power, plenty of rib. When we get her on the go, I think we study her structure. It's plenty good enough for me amongst the 5 out here in this class. Just a nice place to start for me. I think there's some toss-up here between these 2 in second and third, and the heifer I chose to go second with, when he gets her parked and we study this one's outline and silhouette, I think it's really good. I think there's a lot of future in this female. She's coming at us a little greener than the one right in front of her is, but study this female in terms of her length of neck and extension up front, in terms of her foot size and bone and her hind leg. From the side, I think she's one that creates a lot of quality there. When we get her on the go and watch her walk away from us, she probably does get a little narrower right at the ground for me. I wish we could just blow her apart some right at the ground and see her get out and move with a little more width, but that female from the side, I like the quality and the maternal look she creates. This heifer that goes third, I think is very interesting as well. When we get her stopped, this one's got some presence to her about her head and neck, and it just captivates your attention. She's one, as we study her structure in terms of her legs. I love the way she's laid back in her knee up front there. We study her hind leg, and there's no doubt this one's really soft-legged. You know, when we get her on the move, I think you have to ask yourself, is she too soft-pastured? She is for me here today. I'd like to just see her set up on them just a notch more. When we get her on the go, I think she's got a bit more roll to her spine as well, a little more roundness in her hip, and that's why she goes third. Heifer that comes next, plenty moderate in terms of her framework for me, but a good brood cow here. I think one that's really easy fleshing. She's good bodied. She's deep flanked. Really nice hind leg on this female as well. I just like to see her with a shot more size. We round things up here with a female that does have some size to her as well. She's just a little coarser in the way she's put together for me. I'd like to see her pieces blend together a little more eloquently, but all in all, a very good class here in this March division.
Over here on the maintainer side, obviously we're kind of getting to that point in the evening where these cattle have kind of had it, and it's been a long weekend. We'll try to kind of keep moving right through these things as best we can. I do think this class falls together pretty logically for me. This one that I'm starting with, especially as this one is parked, is just dominant in terms of just the parts and pieces that she has. This one is so extreme in their length of body, the power that she has behind her, still have a neat and attractive look up through her front end. Now when she gets out and go, I'm not going to tell you it's perfect. For me, it's certainly plenty good enough. When you have a female that, yes, maybe just a touch shorter in her step, but I think part of that's because she's so extreme in her length aside. I think that one flexes and bends everywhere good enough, especially for one with that much power. Very nice heifer to start with. I think this heifer then coming in second, you can make some arguments for them. This one's a maternal shape to her rib. This one's set and movement to her hind leg and her flexibility. This one has got an awful lot of quality to her. Obviously, she's wanting to give this man his hands full here showing her, but I think irregardless, this is a heifer that from her shoulders back, you can like an awful lot of things about her. Huge bodied, huge middled, great in terms of her build at the ground. She is shorter fronted, she's deeper chested, she doesn't have the power. We get behind her as our class winner, but a very, very high quality one in there in second. Then we come into a female in third that for me just falls her rather logically. She has some muscle, she's got body, she's got a nice udder coming underneath her. She's a little bit more refined than that pop pair, not as big-footed, not as big bone. She's a little wider up there in her shoulder and down through her chest maybe, but a female with a ton of good in her. Fourth and fifth is probably, to me, the only place was much of a decision out here. I chose to go with the one that's a little more feminine, a little more refined for me in terms of just being a little neater and attractive through that shoulder, down through that chest. A long-bodied female that's got a lot of shape to her. She doesn't have the depth of body and the power of the heifer that finishes up the class, but she's so much better from her shoulders forward. I do appreciate the power and the stoutness and the thickness of the heifer that concludes the class.
Well, as we get these class winners and seconds back out here to pick you a division champion over here in our Limousine show, I think what a way to start off the night here, these heifer calves. So we got three excellent class winners. I'll say a few things about them here. The heifer out of the first class, she came to the top of that class because she was really complete. And I think we get her back out here and her balance still holds true. You know, we compare her to the two behind her, and she may not be quite as sharp there through her throat as the two heifers that are behind her, but in terms of her stoutness and her boldness, she can hold her own, being a little younger than the other two there. That's a good female. Heifer out of the second class, so we turned it up a notch there in terms of look. A female that is very eloquent about her head and neck. And she's got a big stout hip in her. Another one with a lot of balance when we get her on the profile here. We get her on the move, and we talked it there in class. Maybe not just the most comfortable right at the ground, but I think one that's still plenty good there in terms of when she gets out on the go. That's just where I'd like to change her. we round things off here with the oldest heifer of the division, and she's one that ties together a lot of neat pieces in terms of look, in terms of power, and in terms of boldness. You know, another one that, once again, I said it on all these heifers, but I think they're all very balanced in the way they're put together. The decision becomes pretty close for me, but I'll show you the way I like them. Let's give these guys a round of applause here in the Limousine show.
And catching you up over in your Limousine show, placings in Class 3 are as followed. First place goes inch number 14, TSSL BTOM Mariah Carey, exhibited by Jacob Stouffer of Warsaw, Indiana. Second place in that class will go to inch number 16, HB Whiskey 443M, exhibited by Landon Clark of Gainesville, Georgia. Third place will go to inch number 17, HB Whiskey 442M, exhibited by Samantha Pico of Ewing, Kentucky. And fourth place will go to inch number 18, HFC Miley 065, exhibited by Taylor Holloway of Fort White, Florida. And fifth place will go to entry number 12, CKES Missy 82M, exhibited by Clara Kessler of Crawfordsville, Indiana. Please note entry number 10, 13, and 15 were scratches. And your Division I Limousine champion will go to entry number 14, TSSL BTOM Mariah Carey, exhibited by Jacob Stouffer of Warsaw, Indiana. And your reserve Division I champion will go to entry number 16, HB Whiskey 443M, exhibited by Landon Clark of Gainesville, Georgia. Now in your ring will be Class 4 Limousine females. And placings in Class 41 over in your maintainer female show are as followed. First place goes entry number 190, Kara, exhibited by Dylan Miller of Galveston, Indiana. Second place goes entry number 184, TACM Livy 324L, exhibited by Turner Longhair of Kellyville, Oklahoma. Third place goes entry number 178, TCLC Tamale 339L, exhibited by Reed Nonnington of Atlanta, Illinois. And fourth place goes inch number 181, FEN Black Cadillac, exhibited by Grace Fetcher of McAlpin, Florida. And fifth place will go to inch number 183, exhibited by Cody Landon of Fort Jennings, Ohio. And entries number 180 and 185 and 188 and 191 were scratches. Now in the ring is Class 42 maintainer females. And don't forget to check out all the photos from this week's show here in Broadbent Arena and Freedom Hall at lindysPhotos.com. We sure do appreciate Lindy Livestock Photographers for being around ringside with us this week.
So we move into a new division here, a pair of February heifers, and I really like both these females. I think this heifer in second just run into a really good one in front over here. This female that's going to win our class here, when she comes in the ring, the first thing I gravitate to is just her looseness in terms of her structure. I think a female that takes out and takes a big long step on a big foot. I think that's very important in these cattle, and this one does it to a high degree. You know, aside from that, even though she's got a little extra skin there under her chin, she's still extremely long-necked. I like the way her neck ties in there into her shoulder, and she opens up into just a big old rib cage. Plenty of power, puts all that together in a very balanced package. Heifer that's going to go second here, we really study this one, and we realize how long this female is. She's tremendously long-spined. I like the hip in this female. I think she's one that has a really nice set to her hock and on down into her pastern. You know, she's probably not quite as deep-centered as the heifer right there in front of her. She's a little more upright in the angle to her shoulder when we set her out in motion. We can see that, a little more moderate in terms of her framework, but yet she's still a female that's chock full of quality. That's a really good pair of females here to represent your February class.
Over here on the maintainer side, I think it's relatively straightforward for me. This heifer that I'm starting with, she's not the stoutest one that we've seen all day, but as we get into these older females, just in terms of a maternal look and the body shape this one's got, and especially when we ask them to go, just in terms of the length and athleticism as she has to her stride, how she gets out and goes and travels around here, to me, she's a pretty logical place to start. I think this one in second, when they're parked, she certainly gives her a run. That one is powerful. She is stout. She has got all kinds of dimension and muscle and shape to her, but she's just a little shorter in her step, wants to tighten up in her spine, get a little straighter out of her front shoulder relative to that class winner. We come then with the heifer in third, that if she were a little different out of that front end, certainly could have moved up a spot. From her shoulders back, I like this one maybe better than the second heifer in terms of her shape to her center rib and back into her flank, but she too is wider out of that front end, straighter out of that front shoulder, and neither than what we consider ideal. Similar then in the heifer coming out in fourth, from her shoulders back, awesome in terms of her body shape, huge bone, huge footed. It just from her shoulders forward where I start having a challenge with this one. She wants to open up in her in her chest, get a lot wider up front, shorter neck, not quite as maternal and as fresh as I'd like to see her out here at this age. Follow her then with one that is a little straighter as well out of her front end. She's a little harder rib kind of a female, but she is a very attractive, really nice profiling kind of a heifer. And then finish up with one that has the advantage of soundness over the heifer directly ahead of her, but she is flatter and frailer and more refined than the heifers higher in the class.
And placings in class number 42 over in your maintainer female show are as followed. First place goes into number 194, MDC Marilyn Moreau 323L, exhibited by Keston Holmes of Answorth, Iowa. Second place goes into number 198, GOET got Miss Honeysuckle, exhibited by Jacqueline Thomas of Dunlap, Tennessee. And third place goes into number 199, NSSC, She's Unmatched, exhibited by Tucker Shepard of Napoleon, Ohio. And fourth place goes into number 200, Dust Isabel, exhibited by Emma Graft of Middletown, Ohio. And fifth place will go to inch number 193, exhibited by Hatton and Distra of Wayland, Michigan. And sixth place goes into number 197, exhibited by Skaggs Family Show Cattle of West Union, Ohio. Please note, entry number 195 and 503 were scratches. Now entering the ring will be your Division 5 champion over in your maintainer female show. And over in your limousine show, first place goes entry number 22, SSUL, Forever Charmed, 4295M, exhibited by Sarah Sullivan of Dunlap, Iowa. And second place goes to entry number 19, CLAC Marley, 264M, exhibited by Connor London of Sycamore, Pennsylvania. Congratulations. Now in the ring is Class 5 limousine females.
Well, a deep class here in this January class. Here in the Limousine show, and I think we got some good heifers in here. Some differences, but the one we're going to choose to win with here, if this one's head and neck, don't catch your eye, nothing will. A beautiful headed, beautiful neck, very maternal in her look up there. Tons of body, tons of rib in this one, and she's got some power to her when you get around behind her. I think a female with a lot of genuine width, a lot of genuine power. When we study the way she moves on the side, I think she's one that gets out and takes a very long stride, very laid back in the angle to her knee and her hock. Maybe wants to get outside herself ever so slightly when we get around behind her and watch her use her hind too, but she's also pushing on this young man pretty good out here. Kind of a little hard to get a read on that, but all in all, that's the most complete one, the most balanced one, the highest quality heifer in this class. Heifer that goes second, one that maybe doesn't have the bells and whistles of our class winner in terms of her look, but we study her in terms of brood cow function, and there's a lot to appreciate in this one. Once again, I love her head. I love the maternal look she has there. She's one that's very dense in terms of her rib cage, one that's really square out her hip. Maybe just not quite the cleanliness up through her chest there, not quite the true depth of her flank, but we study the fundamentals, and that's why I like her. That's why she goes second. Heifer that comes next, maybe the powerhouse female of the class when we study her from the ground up. She's big-footed, she's big-boned. She just reads with a lot of power as we study her outer hip and the way she's constructed. This female, for me, I guess she gives up a little bit of look about her head and neck, down into her chest. Probably where I'd like to change her the most is just relax her some in the angle to her knee. I think if we could do that, she'd get out and just be a little more comfortable when she goes, but no doubt a very powerful one with a lot of future. Heifer that comes next is another one that's just very maternal in her read to me. A female that's good-bodied and good-hipped. One for me that's just a notch straighter in the way she uses her hock. Doesn't have the foot size and the bone work under her, those heifers in front of her. Female that comes next, sharp-featured, really, nice-looking in terms of her femininity. We just got to give this one some more body. She's a little too shallow for me, but got to appreciate the structure on this one, the way she gets out and moves around the ring as we study her feet and legs. We round things up here with one that's also very maternal in her look. She's big-bodied. She's about as square and level from her hooks to her pins as you can make one. Just a little plainer up front. I'd like to set her tail head down in her some and just power her up in terms of her bone work.
Over here on the maintainer side, really a strong division here. We've got 6 excellent females out here, and especially as we start talking about these 3 class winners. This young lady's heifer that came out of the first class, as I talked about her in that class, I just really appreciate this one for her freshness, her soundness, her presentation here today, and how she comes to us just so genuine and true in her type and kind. As I talked about her in class, if we want to really nitpick her, she maybe gets just a little weaker right there behind her shoulders, but she is so good in her center body. She's so good in terms of her soundness, her athleticism. There's a lot of really good parts and pieces about that heifer, and one I like quite well. One that is absolutely out there, I guess, just in terms of muscle and length and rib shape and power and dimension. This heifer in second is really hard to take your eyes off of. Just a beautifully presented female out here that's got such a good look to her, so much power, so much width, so much dimension. As I talked about her in class, I'm not going to say she's just the most flexible off the back end of her skeleton of any of what we've seen here, but I certainly think sound enough in terms of how that one goes, in terms of how that one gets out and reaches. One that just so out there in some of the parts and pieces she has, one that you certainly have to appreciate. And then we have a heifer then out of the third class that's maybe almost the opposite as I see her. She to me is one that's just really safe right down the middle of the road. As I talked about her in class, she's not the widest one we've seen out here today, but one that probably is wide enough for a female. She's big-bodied, she's good-footed. She's certainly not as extreme up through that front third as some that we've seen. So that's probably my question out here today, is how I want to line it up. Do I want to go with the ones that are maybe a little more out there with a little more wild breeding pieces, or do you want to play it safe with heifers like this out of the last class? I guess any of you that have seen some of the kinds that we try to raise and show, we're probably a little bit more out there on the edge a lot of times. I'm coming back to this heifer out of the second class for our division champion. Come back to the heifer out of the first class for our reserve. Congratulations.
Well, back here on the Limousine side, only a couple classes in this division, but we got 4 good ones here in the ring that represent those 2 classes. I tell you what, I think we study all 4 of these females, and I'd have no problem taking any of them home because this division's been good. There's some differences in here, but there's differences in all of them. I'll talk these 2 class winners right quick and get you a set of champions. Heifer out of this first class, I think one that just reads with so much power, so much boldness and dimension everywhere. You know, she's one we study her from the ground up, and I love the extra foot size and bone work she has down low. You know, we said there in class she's got a little more chin, but, you know, it doesn't really bother me because this heifer's still so long and extended up front. She reads like one that's going to continue to get better every day of her life. Just a really high-quality individual. This heifer out of our second class, she's one for me. We study her, and I gravitate real quick to her head and neck. I love this one's head. I love her neck. So maternal in the way she reads up front there, and she probably does have the advantage there over the heifer in front of her in terms of look up through her front 1/3. I love this heifer's rib cage as well, and she's surprisingly got a lot of power when we get around behind her. You know, we compare to that heifer right in front of her, and this heifer just simply doesn't have quite the foot size and the bone work under. Maybe not quite as comfortable on the go as that heifer that stands out in the first class there, but nevertheless, I think this female is tremendous in terms of her quality, in terms of her balance. I think it's pretty close here in this division, but I'll show you the way I like them. Let's give these exhibitors a big hand here as we pick you another division.
Nice way to finish up our maintainer show over here in terms of one that's just sound and useful in her type and kind, one that's good-bodied, one that's good-fronted, one that's maybe not a real wild in any one area, but in terms of one that just built good, the one that's got enough muscle, got enough body. Maybe we could give her a touch more bone, but that's picking on a very, very nice senior yearling. Nice way to end up our show here today.
And over in your maintainer show, your Division 5 champion will go to entry number 190, Kara, exhibited by Dylan Miller of Galveston, Indiana. And your reserve division will go to entry number 167, exhibited by Carly Beckheimer of Dillsburg, Pennsylvania. Congratulations. And first place in Class 43 maintainer heifers goes to entry number 202, Jubilee, exhibited by Mia Peters of Lithia, Florida. And that one will also be your automatic Division 6 champion. And now entering the ring will be the selection of your grand champion maintainer heifer here in Broadbent Arena. Again, entering the ring now is your selection of the grand champion maintainer heifer. And catching you up over in your limousine show, placings in Class 5 are as followed. First place in Class 5 goes to entry number 29, Boy J. Corlela, exhibited by Keegan Bonsack of Taylor Ridge, Illinois. Second place goes to entry number 25, Cabello Harmony 2408, exhibited by Cabello of Cedarville, Ohio. Third place goes to entry number 31, KLCS Mix Medea, exhibited by Kelly Campbell Suits of Danesville, Georgia. Fourth place in that class goes into number 27, SJMR Moretta, 405M, exhibited by Samantha Jo Moore of Sutton, Virginia. Fifth place goes into number 24, Legacies Meg, exhibited by Jocelyn Robert of Witt, Illinois. And 26. And sixth place goes into number 30, AMPU Marley, 234M, exhibited by Amanda Purvis of Versailles, Kentucky. And entry number 26 was a scratch. And your Division champion goes to entry number 22, exhibited by Sarah Sullivan of Dunlap, Iowa. And your reserve division goes to entry number 29, exhibited by Keegan Bonsack of Taylor Ridge, Illinois. Now in the ring is Class 6 limousine females. And folks around ringside, if you could join me in giving Mr. Alan Miller one more big round of applause for coming out and evaluating our show here in Broadbent Arena.
So we move into a new division here, these later fall-borns, class of Decembers, and a really nice female here we're going to start off with. I think a female that gives you a good look when he gets her parked there. She's nice up through her neck. I think she's really bold in terms of her rib cage. You know, she's probably not the biggest bodied one in the class, but I do appreciate the spring and curvature she has that rib cage, and certainly plenty of depth for me. Heifer that's got some stoutness to her. You know, it's just one that's hard to poke a hole in when we analyze this heifer. That's why she's going to win your class. Heifer that comes next, I like a lot of things about this one. You know, she's one that's got some extra foot size, some extra bone work under, beautiful set to that hock and hind leg. Female that gives you a nice look when we get her parked too. Probably wants to break just a little more there behind her shoulder. I guess for me, probably what the thing I'd like to change the most is just see a little more of her in terms of her size. Reads a little more moderate in terms of her size on down the road, but that's a good female. Heifer that comes next, they've got this one presented to a T out here today. She's clipped in beautifully. She's a female that doesn't lack for power. She's got a big stout hip in her. Female that's really good as we study her hind leg all the way down to the ground. If I'm going to change this one, I'd like to see her head just a little more feminine. I'd like to soften her up some through her rib cage in terms of her depth, but I think a female that offers a lot of neat pieces out here. Finally, we round things up with this young man's female here. His sister's hollering at him up in the stands, and I got tickled at that. He's brought us one out here that's just tremendously long and extended. She's long-necked. She's big-barreled. She's got some muscle to her. For me, she's just a little plainer as we study her neck. I'd like to shorten her toes up some and see her drive off of a little better hock. But good class of females as we start a new division off. Well, a single entry here in this November division. I got you there, Alan. Female, when she come in the ring, we study the way this one moves, and she's probably as long-strided as any female that's been in the ring all day. Just gets out and absolutely motors around the ring. Female with some power. I like the squareness she has to her hip, the curvature to her rib. Female that I'm looking forward to getting back here in this division and stacking her up against some competition.
I'm going to make one last speech, and the mic's all yours, Andy. So anyway, no, it's been a great day over here on the main side of things, and we've whipped through 3 divisions of heifers and a couple divisions of bulls, and we have had high quality cattle all the way through this as far as how to put these things together, and giving me some really good things to work with and things that I can be really proud to stand behind in the backdrop. And my compliments to an outstanding association, an outstanding set of breeders, an outstanding program here to bring us cattle that look this good and this impressive. And you know, it has been a long week on a lot of people. A lot of the cattle are coming out here late this evening and trying to get these things showed, and then I stand out here as a judge and start nitpicking all kinds of little things on these, you know. And there is no doubt that you know, I'm sure these things look different when they showed yesterday. I'm sure these things look different when they showed last month, you know. But what I've got to work with is what I see out here today, and there's not a perfect one. There's not one that I couldn't sit here and pick a hole in terms of just, you know, did they take this step wrong or maybe not quite moving off of this end or that end. But the bottom line is there's about a half a dozen of these things out here that to me are incredible cattle. I mean, cattle that are absolutely going to be big time donors, big time producers. There's a couple calves down there, as I've mentioned several times. You know, I'm not a big one on using a calf to win a show, but once again, we've got a couple outstanding calves, 4 of them, quite frankly, out there on that end of the lineup. Our fall overall division was extremely good, and then we start moving into these bigger heifers, and that's when they really start sorting themselves out as far as the right kind of cattle. It is hard to keep perfect all throughout the year in terms of just keeping them fresh, keeping them right on, keeping them dialed in, and especially after a week like what we've had here at the show, and how many times these things been out and what they've been through. And so to get back here to look like they do and to be presented like this, my compliments to these exhibitors, my compliments to all the folks involved with this lineup. It's been really, really good. I'm going to put the microphone down. One last congratulations. Let's give them all a big round of applause. I'm going to take one final look and sort of the way I like them here for your final champions.
And your grand champion maintainer female here at the 2024 North American goes to entry number 190, Kara, exhibited by Dylan Miller of Galveston, Indiana. Congratulations. And your reserve grand champion maintainer female goes entry number 157, PCC WJ Ella's Lady, exhibited by Pate Parson of Leavenworth, Kansas. Congratulations to those exhibitors.
Well, back here on the Limousine side, interesting class here. Three very good females. The one that's going to win your class here, I think, is a female that the longer you study her, the more you appreciate her. A female that it starts at the ground. She's the soundest one in here. She's the freest moving one. She's not the biggest boned one. She's sure not the hairiest one in here, but I think in terms of her function from the ground up, she's an easy class winner for me. Aside from that, this one's neck attaches super high, and she can give you an awesome look when he gets her parked there in the way she carries her head and holds her neck. She is probably a little weaker about her top, a little rounder in her tail head, but man, we get them to move like that. We get them that functional. I think that's why she wins the class. Heifer that goes next on the standstill, you look at this one and say, man, that one's a powerhouse, and she is. I think she's a square hip. She's as stout from behind as one needs to be. And, she's a female that still gives us a nice look as well. It's when we get her on the go, I'd like to change her. If we could just spread this one's toes apart a little bit there in the rear and see her set down a little more comfortably right at the ground, I think it comes a little closer race on the top end of this class. That's a good stout female, though. This young lady here to round things up has brought us another one that's very feminine, very maternal in her look. She too is full of power, big stout square hip in her. She's just a little straighter in the angle to her shoulder for me. Maybe one that just doesn't have quite the flex when she uses her hock when we get her out on the go. But another awesome class here in this Limousine show.
And congratulations to your premier breeder over on your main side. That goes to Buck Morton Cattle Company out of Oklahoma. Congratulations. And congratulations to your premier exhibitor, Mr. Andrew Meyer of Tennessee. Again, congratulations to those exhibitors for a successful show here at the North American. We will be starting our Gelbvieh show here at approximately 6:45 in Broadbent Arena. Again, we'll start our Gelbvieh show here at 6:45 in Broadbent Arena. And catching up over in your Limousine female show, placings in Class 6 are as followed. First place goes entry number 32, exhibited by Brandon Gasway of Stillwater, Oklahoma. Second place goes entry number 35, exhibited by Taylor Holloway of Fort White, Florida. And third place in Class 6 goes entry number 37, exhibited by Ezra Turrell of Saugatuck, Oklahoma. Fourth place goes entry number 34, exhibited by Jackson Kidd of Sandy Hook, Kentucky. And placings in class number 7, first place goes inch number 39, exhibited by Delilah Liber of Hillsboro, Ohio. And first place in class number 8 goes inch number 42, WWS Lavender 031L, exhibited by Dustin Branner Jr. of Savannah, Georgia. And second place in that class will go to inch number 44, TASF Lovely Dream 801L, exhibited by Austin Maury of Lamar, Missouri. And third place in that class will go to entry number 43, TASF Licorice 806L, exhibited by Kendall Portwood of Fort Sales, Kentucky. And now in the ring will be Class 9 over in your Limousine female show.
Well, a fun class here in these Septembers, and pair of heifers on top that are pretty similar here. I think it gets pretty close between these two because both these females are just extremely high quality. The female here that's going to win the class, first one in the gate here, and boy, she caught my eye right off the bat. She's probably about as long and extended up front with some presence to go along with it as you can make one. Female, when you just study the squareness she has over top, as she holds her top line on the go and the power she's got to go along with it, I think that's where she rises to the top. Just a really high quality female with some length, some extension, and some balance. Heifer in second. I could say much of the same for this one. I love this one's head and neck. A female that's just got so much body, so much power there through her center portion of her body. A female that maybe is not quite as good right behind her shoulder in the way she hooks up. She wants to get just a little narrower at the ground when we watch her go away from us. But I think all in all, two females there that have a tremendous amount of quality with some look to go along with it. Heifer that comes next, she's more moderate in terms of her framework, and I don't mind that. Probably works to her disadvantage just a little bit because she stood behind two heifers that were just a little longer and more extended all the way through. We studied the major parts of this one, though, and she is still very maternal about her head and her neck. I love her rib shape. I love her body. She's a female for me that I just wish we could see a little more of her out here today in terms of size, but we study the basics, and that one checks a lot of boxes. Heifer that comes next, absolutely powerful, square-hipped one. She's just a little straighter off both ends of her skeleton. If we could lay her shoulder back in her and relax her in her knee, I think this one might move up a spot or two. Young man's heifer comes next, another stout-featured one that's big-boned and big-footed. She's a little plainer as we study her up front. I'd like to set her tail head down in her some. We round things off with a female that's perhaps as wide and powerful and big-footed as any in the class. She just doesn't blend that power quite as neatly and quite as smoothly as what I'd like to see. All in all, a very good class, though, here in this September class.
And placings in class number 9 over in your Limousine female show are as followed. First place goes inch number 46, TASF Lady Gaga 815L, exhibited by Sadie Lee Portwood of For Sales, Kentucky. Second place goes inch number 48, TSSL BTOM Astana 3904, exhibited by Braylon Schaefer of Hagerstown, Indiana. Third place goes inch number 52, KQLL 3339L, exhibited by Bailey Haddon of Reeseville, Indiana. Fourth place goes inch number 47, Auto Lucky Lou, exhibited by Keaton Wade Schultz of Danielville, Georgia. Fifth place goes inch number 50, exhibited by Bryce Friend of Duck, West Virginia. And sixth place in that class goes inch number 53, exhibited by Jackson Kidd of Sandy Hook, Kentucky. Please note inch number 51 and 49 were scratches.
as we get going here on another division. Wow, what a fall division we've had here. I'll run through these here and say a little bit about them, tell you what we're thinking out here. Heifer out of this first class, she came to the top of that class because she was pretty hard to poke a hole in, and I think we get her back out here, and that still sums her up. A female that's got some look, she's got some rib, she's got some power. You know, with that balance, we'll get her back out here with these older heifers, and maybe she just doesn't have the most of anything, and it probably works to her disadvantage a little bit, but young man, I'd be awfully proud of that one because I think that's one as a senior yearling. She's only going to continue to get better. That's a good female. This heifer out of our second class, single entry, and in that class, you know, we watched her go, and she gets out and takes a super long stride, and I still like that about this female. She takes a big, long step. She's very long and angular up front, so we study her about her head and the way she lays into her shoulder. She's got some rib as well. We get her back out here with some competition, and we study this female and realize she probably doesn't have quite enough foot size and bone in relation to her competition, but I think still a female, as we study the parts and pieces of her, there's a lot to appreciate there. We moved into that next class, and this female here was one that was just tremendously awesome structured when we got her on the go, and still rings true out here today. I love this one from the ground up. You know, she's awesome bodied, she's deep centered, she's width and dimension when we get around behind her. Maybe not, you know, the most elite in terms of her look when we study her about her head out here. I'd still like to see that one a little stronger across her top line, but a lot of function in that female. I think a very good one. We rounded things off here with a really deep class, and we had a pair of heifers out of that class that were pretty similar. Heifers with some extra extension up front, heifers with some extra length all the way through, and still had some power. That sums this female up. She's sound on the move. She doesn't disappoint you when you get behind her. All in all, just a very, very good division. I'll show you the way I like them here on the Limousine side. Let's give them another round of applause.
And your Division III champion goes into number 46, TASF Lady Gaga 815L, exhibited by Sadie Lee Portwood of For Sales, Kentucky. And your reserve division will go to entry at number 48, TSSL BTOM Astania 3904, exhibited by Braylon Schaefer of Hagerstown, Indiana. Again, congratulations to those exhibitors. And we are beginning to start your Gelbvieh show over in Broadbent Arena with Class 1 Spring Heifer Calves.
Moving to a new division here. Young man's brought us a June heifer, and there's a lot to appreciate on this girl here. Certainly powerful, wide-based, plenty of power, you know, when we study her in terms of muscle. She's good-bodied. I think a nice female. Looking forward to getting her back out here in the division champion and stack her up against some competition.
Well, good evening, and it's a pleasure to be out here to judge the Gelbvieh show, the Open Gelbvieh show. We have a very nice March heifer to start off our first class of purebred females, and just a tremendous balanced female. She's big-bodied, she's very sound, she's truly a high-performing female that just totally just puts everything together. I really like this red heifer here on the end that is going to be a April heifer. She's beautiful fronted. She's really straight in her lines. She's just a little bit further behind in terms of condition and grow today, but I think there's a lot of potential in that heifer, and she has a lot of future grow in her.
And placings in Class 1 over in your Gelbvieh show are as followed. First place goes entry number 3, MV Miss Miley 409M, exhibited by Haley Cornett of Hillsboro, Ohio. She will also be your automatic division champion. And second place in that class in your reserve division will go to entry at number 2, LHC 482M, exhibited by Molly Anderson of Marion, North Carolina.
Another really good single entry in our second class. Just tremendous length of body in this heifer. She's a super extended from her shoulders forward. I love her rear leg set and just gets out and travels extremely well off both ends. Just a very high quality place to start. We'll see how she stacks up with the rest of the competition in this division.
Well, a really nice pair of May females here, and one we're going to lead off with, for me, just comes to the top because she's just a little bolder. There's just a little more to her. A female that's awesome in terms of her lower rib shape, female that's got a big stout hip in her, and we get around behind her, and she doesn't disappoint you there. You know, for me, she's probably carrying a little more condition than what I'd like to see. And I think we lean this one up. She probably gets out and travels a little freer out of her front end skeleton, but all in all, a very powerful female, and that's why she comes to the top of this class. Heifer in second. There's a lot to appreciate here as well. Young man's brought us a female that's just tremendously extended. I love the angularity she has up front about her shoulder and the way she ties into her beautiful head. For me, this female is probably a little more moderate in terms of her framework than what I prefer. I think she's one that there's nothing wrong with cattle that probably are just a little more moderate, but I think she gets out-horsed here by the one in front of her. But at the end of the day, this one's still very functional. I like her look and I like her kind.
A very good single entry here. I love them like this. Just tremendous body, tremendous cow look in this heifer. A little bit of front end, that's okay. She's got a little chest, a little bit of throat. But I tell you what, this heifer's got tremendous body depth, and love her hip and hind leg, and just tremendous fleshing ability. She looks like she's going to go on and make a tremendous cow on down the road. And I'll tell you what, these Gelbvieh cattle and these Gelbvieh percentage cattle just make tremendous females. And that's what I think we're looking at here. Just the future potential of what this female can do is what we're looking for today for me. But I love this heifer. She's a really nice heifer.
And first place in class number 4 over in your Gelbvieh female show goes to entry at number 7, Post Rock 276M8, exhibited by Ayla J. Griffith of Canton, North Carolina, and she will automatically be your division champion. Congratulations. Now entering your ring will be Class 7 senior heifer calves over in your Gelbvieh show.
Another single entry, extremely long-bodied, very sound-made female, super feminine and very maternal in her look, and I sure appreciate that. But very high-quality female. Let's get her back out here with these other class winners and see how she stacks up. But congratulations, a very high-quality female.
We got our class winners here for another division, and young man here out of that first class. He was a single entry and brought us a heifer that was just super powerful, and I still appreciate that about her. You get around behind her, she's got some width, she's got some dimension. You know, we compare her to the other two out here, and we'd probably like to set her tail head down in her some. She's probably not quite as neat and chiseled out up front as these other two females, but still one that you have to appreciate for a basic function in terms of her soundness, in terms of her width and dimension. Heifer out of her second class, that class winner, you know, she's one that's got a little more size out here, but yet with that, she's got that extra dimension, that extra boldness and power to go along with it. I said they're in class. She's probably carrying just a shot more condition than what I like, but still, I think we even melt that off of her. She's still one that's tremendous in terms of her quality. That's a really good female, and we had a good second to her there as well. I'll show you the way I like these three. Congratulations, exhibitors.
Nice division here in front of us. This red heifer, I just love how she's patterned. She's big-bodied, she's sound, she's easy fleshing. She's just a tremendous cow prospect in the making. Our black heifer right behind her, I love her length of body. She's very feminine. She's very elegant up through her front end. Maybe doesn't quite have the rib shape and body depth of our heifer that wins the first class, but just tremendous in terms of quality and just soundness. I just wish she had a little more depth of rib and fleshing ability today, but two really high quality heifers, and I'm going to congratulate both breeders and exhibitors on these. They're very nice heifers.
And catching you up over in your Gelbvieh show, first place in Class 7 goes to entry number 8, JNCC Ember 3729, exhibited by Nowak Cattle Company of Owensville, Missouri. And first place in Class 8 goes to entry number 12, LHC 379L, exhibited by Molly Anderson of Marion, North Carolina. And please congratulate entry number entry number 8, it was your division champion, and entry number 12 was your reserve. Congratulations. Now entering the ring is Class 11 Gelbviehs. And placings in Class 11, first place and your division champion goes entry number 55, TSSL, Neil Say My Oh My, ET, exhibited by Kessler Collins of Flanagan, Illinois. And second place in that class and your reserve division champion goes entry number 56, WCEN, Larsa Jane, 55L, exhibited by John Crawford of Malta, Ohio. Congratulations to those limousine exhibitors.
Another single entry over here on the Gelbvieh side. Very high quality female that's extremely well balanced.
Did you get the money?
I love how straight this heifer's top line is. Her tail head lays into her perfectly. She has a very nice hind leg. I would just say this heifer just balances perfect, and she's very fault free. I'd like to see her out here with some competition, but congratulations to this young lady.
And first place in Class 11 over in your Gelbvieh show goes to entry number 13, JNCC Ambrosia 3025, exhibited by Cameron Nowak of Bland, Missouri. Congratulations. That heifer will also be your division champion, and now entering the ring is Class 12.
It gets tough over here in the Gelbvieh side. There's a lot of single entries and double entry classes, but I'll tell you what, the quality doesn't keep coming. This heifer is just like we talked in the last class. Tremendous balance and quality in this heifer. She's so laid back in her shoulders. She has a great hip and hind leg in her. I love the softness to her rear leg. I think this heifer is going to be a tremendous cow prospect and going to be a just get bred and be a tremendous cow. But I'd love to see her out here with a little competition, and we'll see her just back here shortly.
And first place in Class 12 goes to entry at number 14, Lily, Fit 536L, exhibited by Alexandra Rabb of Markle, Indiana. Congratulations. Now this will be division. Now entering the ring will be Class 5 Division 4 champion intermediate heifer.
Gelbvieh cattle are so good in terms of just being functional and sound. But I tell you what, when it gets down to the nitpicking, I'm going to find the one that I think is the soundest. And this heifer right here that was going to win this class, this young lady in the black sweater, she has the soundest heifer in here. I love her shoulder and the way it lays back in her skeleton. She really reaches out and grabs a free stride. She's longer necked. She has a very feminine head, very, very elegant look to her from the side, very high quality female. And there's not much difference in these two besides length of front end in these two. This heifer that wins the second spot, she's very, very, very good in terms of her top line, her thickness, her body depth, her overall boldness. But she's just a little shorter fronted. And I think she's just a little more upright in her shoulder. And that's what makes me place them like I do. Very, very high quality pair of heifers. Once again, a single entry, but a very high quality female here. About as sound of a heifer as we've seen walk through the ring today. Truly a long striding female that is very feminine and very maternal in her look. I love how elegant she is up through her front end. There's no chest, there's no throat. This heifer's very feminine about her head, and I just love the top line and the hip and hind leg this heifer has. Maybe not the hairiest, not the furthest along in terms of her condition, but just a very high quality heifer that I think will stand her own ground in the competition here in just a second.
And your intermediate champion heifer over in your Gelbvieh show goes to entry number 13, JNCC Amberage 3025L, exhibited by Cameron Nowak of Bland, Missouri. And your reserve will go to entry number 14, exhibited by Alexander Arab of Markle, Indiana. And first place in class number 15 over in your Gelbvieh show goes into number 16, L309, exhibited by Molly Anderson of Marion, North Carolina. Congratulations. Now entering the ring is class 16 junior heifer calves.
Structure places these two heifers. This young lady's going to be first. Such a feminine, elegant female from the side. Love her head and neck and the way she lays into her shoulder, her full rib and her flank. Levelness of hip and just a beautiful rear leg on this heifer. I just love how she comes in here. Obviously, this heifer here is maybe just a touch broodier in her look, but she also comes to us with a touch coarser look through her udder. I'd like to see the teat placement just a little bit better, but I think this female is a tremendous brood cow in the making, but just maybe not quite as feminine and elegant through her front end and her overall feminine look.
And first place in class 16 over near Gelbvieh show goes to entry number 18, Butler's Miss Lucy, 282L, exhibited by Roland James Springer of Watertown in Tennessee. And second place in that class goes to number 19, Butler's Miss Lucille, L207, exhibited by Tillman DeRosset of Glasgow, Kentucky. Now will be the selection for your division.
Well, a big class here, and I think it's one of those classes when we think about when we come to the North American that it gets awfully deep really fast, and you may not placed exactly where you thought you should have, but I can promise you this. In my opinion, every heifer in this class is high quality, and there's some differences in them, and I guess what it boils down to when we get here on these top couple especially is just preference a little more. And, you know, the female I'm going to choose to lead things off here for me is just a little more my kind than these pair of females here. One that's extremely maternal in her look. I love this heifer when we study her from right behind her shoulders, back through her rib cage, back into her flank. I like the added boldness and lower ribs she has. I think a female that has plenty of look, you know, plenty of power when we get around behind her. She's not the neatest looking one, but I think it's her balance that brings her to the top out here. For me, it's her maternal look. That's why she wins the class. The heifer in second. There's a lot to like about this one. When we just talk about presence and look and feature, a female that's got a big stout hip, a female that's presented to a T. I love this one's head and neck and the way she carries it. For me, I wish she had a little more flex when we watch her move in her hock. She wants to get a little straighter there than my liking. A female that probably needs just a shot more center body in relation to the heifer right above her, but one that's certainly different in her look, still super high quality. Female that comes next is one that does have that maternal brood cow look. She's super long spined and long and extended up front, about as square and level from her hooks to her pins as you can make one. When we set this one in motion, just needs more set. This needs to be more laid back in her knee. She wants to paddle some out of that front end, and if we could change her there and just push that chest back in her, you know, it makes this class a little more interesting. Heifer behind her is a lot like her. She's a little shorter neck than the heifer in front of her. Just like to clean her chest up some, but there's no doubt. This female's one that's awesome ribbed. She's one that's got an awesome hind leg as we study the way she uses her hock and on down to the ground. A female, though, that just goes up a little look for me compared to the ones in front of her. Young man coming next here, powerhouse kind of female, big boned, big footed, stout featured. For me, she's a little too coarse for my liking. I'd just like to see this one a shot more feminine about her head and neck. But young man, you've got that female looking good, and this is a very tough class. That one's going to be a producer when we get her into production on down the road. Young lady's bringing us a little more moderate kind of female here. Maybe works to her disadvantage just a little bit in terms of her size, but there's no denying the power in this one, the boldness to her hip. Female that's bold ribbed. A little more uncomfortable when we get her out on the go maybe, but a female that nevertheless, I appreciate the stoutness of features she has. We round things up with a female that's got a lot of power to her as well. A little more mechanical in the way she moves out of her front end and off those rear two. Wants to duck her pin some, but at the end of the day, a very, very deep class. One you Limousine breeders need to be proud of.
Very good division over here in the Gelbvieh side. Two tremendous heifers out here that you can compare. And I think we have a very feminine female that wins our first class. So pretty about her head. She's so chiseled out about her neck and chest. I love how feminine she is. She's got a very straight top line. She's got a great rib shape in her, and she's got a very, very good rear leg set. This heifer is probably not as big boned and big footed as the heifer that stands right behind her, but I tell you what, she's so maternal in her look, and I think that's one that if I was a breeder, I'd be looking for in terms of just being a high quality one. There's no value you put on that kind of heifer if you're a breeder or an owner. This heifer here in second, then the second class winner spot, the red one, just love her added foot size and her bone. She's a heifer that balances up, and she's very complete when you look at her from the side. She doesn't have any holes in her. She's very, very attractive. She's a heifer that's feminine. She's maternal. She's powerful. She's kind of a heifer that kind of puts it all together. I really appreciate that. But let's give these breeders and exhibitors both a round of applause. I'm very, very excited to see both these high-quality females out here in this division lineup.
And your Division 5 champion over in your Gelbvieh show goes to entry number 16, L309, exhibited by Molly Anderson of Marion, North Carolina. And your reserve champion goes to entry number 18, Butler's Miss Lucy, 282L, exhibited by Roland James Springer of Watertown, Indiana. Congratulations. You'll now be ready to select your grand champion, Gelbvieh female, here at the North American.
Well, a good class of marches here, and like all three of these females, I think they are all very useful in their kind. I'll tell you what I'm seeing here at them with them as I talk through them. This female that's going to win for me, just very balanced. Female that is neat about her head and her neck, the way it ties in there at her shoulder. I love the rib shape in this one. I love the way she hooks up there behind her shoulder. Tremendously square and level at her hip. You know, I think a female that's really good in terms of her size for a march. Yeah, she's the biggest one in this class, but I think a female that everything ties together in a very balanced package. Good way to start this class off. Powerful female in second. I love this one in terms of her foot size and bone work down low. She's got a big stout hip, wide from behind. A female for me that I'd just like to set her back in her knee some. See her get out and reach with just a little more length of stride up front and the way she handles her shoulder. But a female, once again, easy fleshing, powerful, moderate, a good kind of female. We round things up here with a female that's very elegant. I love this one's head and neck, just the youthfulness, the femininity she has up front. You know, with that angularity she has, probably gives up just some of the genuine power and width to the two in front of her. But I think at the end of the day, one that's very functional in her kind, one that's going to be fun to get into production as a brood cow.
Our balancer drive comes back out here, and we have such a nice group of heifers out here in front of us. Always been so intrigued and captivated by these Gelbvieh cattle. I love how deep-bodied and soft-made they are. I love their structure, their foot quality. I think they're females that go on and just make very good females, and they have tons of longevity, just the way that they're made. Their structure is just not compromised in any way. And I think you have lots of opportunities as a breeder to add genetics in terms of maybe some Angus genetics into the Gelbvieh breed and make them maybe whatever you want to make them. You want to make them bigger, you want to make them smaller, whatever you want to do, they're good cattle. And I do appreciate that. I love the udder, love the milk these cattle have. I think they're just great, great cattle. I'm not going to go back and describe each one of these division winners, but I do think there's a great division of cattle out in front of us, a great lineup in front of us that we can go pick a champion and reserve from, and I sure hope we can give them a quick round of applause and tell these breeders and these exhibitors how good these cattle are.
And your grand champion, Gelbvieh, here at the North American goes entry number 16, L309, exhibited by Molly Anderson of Marion, North Carolina. Congratulations. Lucy 282L, exhibited by Roland James Springer of Watertown, Tennessee. Congratulations. And your reserve grand champion goes to entry number 8, JNCC Ember 3729, exhibited by No White Cattle Company of Owensville, Missouri. Congratulations to those Gelbvieh exhibitors. And catching you up over in your Limousine show, placings in Class 13 are as followed. First place goes to entry number 80, TSSL Maine Larsa 3032L, exhibited by Michaela Jo Massey of London, Kentucky. And second place in that class goes to entry number 75, CELL Lenny 3139, exhibited by Aaliyah Hayes Byers of Kingsport, Tennessee. Third place goes entry number 76, SHSK Scarlett Joe 314L, exhibited by Abigail Hutchins of North Throne, Florida. Congratulations to those exhibitors. Please note entries 68, 69, 70, 77, and 78 were scratches. Now in the ring is Class 14.
As we roll into these Februaries here, extremely close here on the top pair here. I'll tell you what I see in these cattle. We listened to Alan talk over here in the other ring earlier, and he talked about how it's been a long week. And it has. These cattle are tired, and they don't like showing at night. But, nevertheless, we got to deal with what we got here. Female that's going to win your class. We get her parked, and I love this one, Silhouette. I love her look. I love her kind. She's beautiful-headed, beautiful-necked. Really opened up in terms of her rib cage. I think we analyzed these two heifers on top, and it's a wash in terms of power. They're both really stout when we get around behind them. They're both really wide pinned. The female that's going to win her class, I'll be the first to admit, I'd like to change the way she uses her knee when we set her in motion. She wants to struggle a little more there out of her front end, but I think her hind leg, the way she sets down at the ground on her hind leg, has the advantage there over the heifer in second. At the end of the day, she more closely follows the kind I've been using all day. This heifer that goes second, powerhouse, big-footed, big-boned, stout-featured. I think a female that offers a lot of quality in terms of mating flexibility on down the road with the build that she has. A female that's got a little more chest to her. She is better in her knee than the heifer that wins the class, but we study her hind leg, and at times she wants to get just a bit more rigid there in her pastern. We'd like to drop this one down in her flank some, too, in relation to her center body, but two extremely high-quality heifers there to lead the class off. young man and young lady's heifer here to round things up. They brought us a really good one. I love this one's extension. I love the way her neck ties high. Wish we could make her just a little better there, right behind her blade, a longer top line, but a female that offers a lot of quality in terms of soundness, in terms of power.
And placings in class number 14 over in your limousine show are as followed. First place goes to entry number 85. SSUL Charmin Forever 3237, exhibited by Reed Utterback of Elwood, Indiana. Second place in that class will go to entry number 87, Ratliff Legacy 301L, exhibited by J.C. Parrish of Liberty, Texas. And third place in that class will go to entry number 83, PRF RNK Laney, exhibited by Samantha Pico of Ewing, Kentucky. Entries number 81, 82, and 84 were scratches. Now making her way into the ring is class 15.
As we get into these older heifers, it's always fun for me to watch these cattle mature and develop and see what they look like as they get a little closer to giving birth to a calf and getting them into production. And I think this class here's got several in it that it's going to be fun to get them into production and see what they look like as cows. And this heifer we're going to lead off with, I guess for me at the end of the day, just the highest quality heifer in here. I think one that she's big outline, she's one with some presence, some natural rib shape to her. She's got some foot size and bone, plenty of muscle, and I'll be the first to admit, I wish we could just relax her a little more there at the ground when we get her in motion. Maybe just not quite as confident in the way she sets those two down at times, but at the end of the day, highest quality female, she's going to win your class. Heifer that comes next here to me is the one that's most like her, and I think a female that I just really appreciate the added extension she has. I love how level and square she is from her hooks to her pins. Nice legged off the rear too. Up front, I wish we could change her knee a little bit and just relax her some there. I'd like to just see her with a little less condition there along the top side of her neck as well. But two good heifers here to get things rolling. Young man's brought us a heifer here that is just extremely functional in her kind. I think this female here, gives up some foot size and bone to the heifers in front of her. Not sure that she gives up a lot of power, but I sure would like to stouten her up. But at the end of the day, that is a big-bodied, really functional kind of female starting to develop a nice udder. I just love the function that one brings to the table. Heifer that comes next, tremendously long-necked, up-headed female. Got some body to her. I'd just like to hook her up a little better there behind her shoulder, give her just a shot more forerib and set her back in her knee. And I think if we could do that, she would maintain her balance a little better when we set her in motion. We round things up with a female, another one with some added size and scale to her. I'd just like to soften her up in her center rib to see her drive with a little more power off her hind leg.
And we are ready to start your Balancer female show over in Broadbent. We are ready for class number 3, senior heifer calves. Again, we're ready for the first class of Balancer females to be making their way into the show ring. And first place in class 15 over in your Limousine show goes to entry number 89, Ratliff Lights Out, 307L, exhibited by Sadie Grace Eggers of Humboldt, Kansas. And second place goes into number 94, Legacy's Lexi ET, exhibited by Jocelyn Rupert of Witt, Illinois. And third place goes into number 92, TASF Levy 726, exhibited by Benson Matlock of Greenfield, Indiana. Fourth place goes into number 93, SSUL Royal Charmed 3205L, exhibited by Abigail Hutchins of Norwalthron, Florida. Fifth place goes into number 91, exhibited by Amanda Purvis of Versailles, Kentucky. Now in your ring will be the selection of your division champion.
So we move into these older females here for your selection of a division championship. Boy, I hope you're watching the Limousine show here on this side because this is just an outstanding division. These 4 class winners, I tell you what, it's hard to build cattle like this. It's hard to make cattle like this. And the class we have here represents a lot of good cattle. Heifer out of this first class, she came to the top of that class just because she was the most functional one in there in terms of her brood cow look, in terms of her soundness. A female that still does a lot of things right in terms of her rib shape when we get her back out here. Probably gives up a little bit of just the power and wow factor to these ones behind her out here. But at the end of the day, I think this is a good brood cow in the making, one that's really fresh in her condition, a female that gets out and travels around the ring like she needs to. Heifer out of that second class, extremely balanced, extremely complete in her design. She's good looking, she's bold ribbed, got some power. You know, amongst the four out here, she probably gets out and moves the best out of these four. I like this heifer in motion, and I think cattle that look good in motion most of the time look good standing still as well, and this one certainly does. A lot of quality out of our second class winner. This female out of our third class on the standstill, for me, I think it's hard to get around one like her. So elegant headed and necked, awesome bodied, extremely square hipped. I love the hind leg on this female and the way she uses her hock. You know, we talked there in class. I just wish she had a little more flex to her knee when we set her in motion. But on the standstill, a lot of quality, very, very good female. Heifer out of our last class, probably the powerhouse of these four heifers out here. We studied this one from her pins on down to her hock, and there's a lot of female right there on the back end of this one. A lot of power, just a lot of boldness to her rib cage. She's another one when we set her in motion, maybe sometimes just a little more unstable in the way she uses those rear two, but boy, gets her parked there, and that looks like a donor cow in the making. You know, with that being said, I think it gets pretty close here in this division because we had some really good seconds over here behind them as well. I'll show you the way I like them. Give them a round of applause.
And your division champion goes to entry number 80, TSSL Maine Lavarsa 3032L, exhibited by Michaela Jo Massey of London, Kentucky. Congratulations.
Really nice class here. We got two heifers that are totally opposite in terms of her type and kind. I really like this red heifer. In terms of her soundness, her structure, I love the cavities this heifer has on paper. She's so balanced and extremely attractive, and just has such an angular maternal look to her. I think this heifer is just going to go on and make a tremendous cow. I love the readiness. The highest thing about this heifer is the presentation. Totally ready today. Maybe just a little too much ready for me. I love this heifer in terms of her width and her power, but I think this heifer just maybe just has a little bit too much condition on her today for me, in my opinion, but a very, very high quality pair of heifers, two extremely good Gelbvieh females. The young guy coming next with this heifer, very, very feminine, very, very maternal in her look. Just a little bit behind in terms of weight per day of age in this class. And this heifer that comes next, a heifer that maybe doesn't balance up quite as nice. She's maybe a little bit heavier fronted, maybe just a little bit out of balance as you compare her to the rest of the class, but a very, very strong class.
And your reserve division champion over in your limousine show goes entry number 85, SSUL Charmin Forever 3237L, exhibited by Reed Utterback of Elwood, Indiana. Congratulations. Now in the ring is Class 16 in your limousine female show.
Well, a pair of December females here moving to a new division, and a nice one to win here. This female we're going to lead things off with, she should be developing an udder underneath there. You could tell by the terms of her ribs, she's heavy bred and she's right where she needs to be. These cattle, we got to get them in production on time, and I think this one's going to be right there at it. Aside from that, she's a good female. This one's got some look to her. I just love the balance she has as we study her down her top line, out her hip, awesome in her hock and on down to the ground. Just a very, very good way to start here. Very functional heifer that still checks a lot of boxes for the show ring. Heifer that comes next, very angular up front. I like her there. She's really level down her top line, square hipped. Just gives up a little bit of the size and power to the heifer in front of her. Maybe just not quite as sound when we get her out on the go.
Good pair of heifers here, and the lower percent Gelbvieh heifer is going to rise to the top in this class just upon her soundness and her structure. This heifer is very balanced and very sound as she gets in travel. This heifer is just so balanced and attractive from the side. Maybe has a down ear, but it doesn't hurt her in terms of when you get to the side of her and see the profile of this heifer. The young lady with the higher percent Gelbvieh female, I love the power and the bone and the foot size this heifer has, but she just maybe not quite as attractive and striking from the side as you look at them, but two really high quality females in this class. You couldn't end up with two more maternal, very feminine females in this division lineup than you could with what we had here, this high percent Gelbvieh division. The red heifer, I just love how feminine and angular this heifer is. She's so maternal about her head. You look at her head, her shoulder, her rear flank, she just reads being a great brood cow. I love how big ribbed she is. I love how she gets out and hits her stride. But one of the best things about her is how laid back in her shoulder she is, and she takes such a long and free stride out of that front end, and that's just a heifer that's going to stay sound. She's going to stay. She's going to be a factor as she's a senior yearling. That's a very, very high quality female. This black heifer here on the end, totally feminine up through her head and neck. I love how long neck she is and clean fronted she is. Maybe doesn't quite have the mass and rib cage of the heifer that stands right in front of her. But I tell you what, that heifer is going to be such a feminine, maternal female when she's put in production. I think she's a great heifer. But two really good heifers, two really good seconds. Let's give them a round of applause. I'll go pick our champions.
And placings in Class 16 over in your Limousine female show are as followed. First place and automatic division champion goes to entry number 96, SJMR Princess Kate 250K, exhibited by Samantha Jo Moore of Staten, Virginia. Second place and your reserve division champion will go to entry number 95, ELCX Cassie 17K, exhibited by Taylor Holloway of Fort White, Florida. And ladies and gentlemen, we are ready for the selection of your grand champion Limousine female here at the North American. And over in your Gelbvieh show, your Division III champion will go to entry at number 30, Butler's Miss Lila 28L9, exhibited by Butler Creek Farms of Milton, Tennessee. And your reserve division will go to entry number 34, 3108L, exhibited by Molly Anderson of Marion, North Carolina.
single entry over here in the Gelbvieh side. Tremendous showman, number one. This young lady is doing such a good job, and she has her program figured out. She's totally in control and has a great heifer to go along with it. Love the balance and love the quality this heifer has. She has good foot size and good bone. She's got a great top line, but balances up extremely nice from the side. But tremendous future for both these two. Very, very high quality heifer.
Well, we'll keep things rolling right along over here. It's a little past time now, so we're going to get these girls out in a few minutes. Out here for your champion selection in the Limousine Female Show. And we've had an awesome show here this afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. And if you've sat ringside and watched it, I think you would agree that these set of cattle and this breed is in a very good place now. We should think about the big things, and these cattle sure check a lot of boxes. We come to these events and we come here, and it's always fun to see one another, to visit with friends and family and have some friendly competition. And, we've done that here this week, and it's hard on us. I hope my crew back in the barn, everything's going all right, because we showed today, and I got cleaned up and got out here to sort this show. But at the end of the day, we all do it because we love it, and I think we need to keep that in mind. So with that being said, thank you to the North American, thank you to the Limousine Association for letting me come out here and sort this. Thoroughly enjoyed it. This show's been good. There's a couple of heifers out here that probably fit what I'm looking for really well. I think females that are good in terms of their structure, still have some look while maintaining some power and some extras in those departments. I'll show you which two they are here, but first I want everyone ringside to give these exhibitors a big round of applause for an incredible show.
And your grand champion Limousine female here at the North American goes to entry number 80, TSSL Maine Larasa 3032L, exhibited by Michaela Jo Massey of London, Kentucky. Congratulations. And your reserve grand champion Limousine female goes to entry number 22, SSUL Forever Charmed 4295, exhibited by Sarah Sullivan of Dunlap, Iowa. Congratulations to those exhibitors.
This is a tough class, probably the most competitive class we've had all day, but it unfortunately sorts out pretty easy in terms of just finding the best one, the soundest, the most balanced. This heifer that wins the class, just tremendous in terms of her eye appeal and her style from the side. Very sound, very easy doing. Love the rib and shape this heifer has from the side. Just beautiful cow prospect in the making. This young lady here in second maybe has a heifer that's just a shot stouter, but she doesn't have the softness of body, doesn't have the softness of structure of the heifer that wins the class. Maybe just a little more upright in her pasterns, maybe a little more upright in her shoulder. This heifer is very high quality, but just maybe doesn't match our class winner. This heifer that's in third definitely has a slicker hair coat. I totally love the heifer. She's just a beautiful cow prospect in the making. She's almost a little bit too soft pasterned, if I had to say something bad about her, but a sound-made heifer. I would like to question there, but a little bit a heifer that I would just like to see a stouter, wider hip in this heifer just to get her up above those two that wins this class. And the heifer that ends up fourth in this class, totally high quality. Very, very, very good. Just maybe not quite as soft-ribbed, big-bodied, and loose-made as the class shows in front of her, but very, very high quality. And this is by far the best class we've seen all day.
And catching you up over in your Balancer female show, first place in class 7 goes to entry number 39, TTG Twisted T Lady 2L, exhibited by Easton Chamberlain. Congratulations. And first place in class number 9 Balancer goes to entry number 42, She's a Lady exhibited by Pleasant Meadows Farm of Glasgow, Kentucky. Second place goes to entry at number 41, DNF Laney, exhibited by Kenley Metz of Socoa, South Carolina. And third place goes to entry number 43, Lindy 10L1, exhibited by Shelby Candler of Weaverville, North Carolina. And fourth place goes to entry number 44, exhibited by Kyra Moore of Fountain Run, Kentucky.
I was making sure this young man was in the right show. This heifer is so nice when she comes in, just beautiful and very elegant in her look. And I said, this is a Gelbvieh show. And he said, are you sure you're in the right show? He said, I try to make them look like this. And I'll tell you what, this guy's got a good heifer. She's so pretty about her head and neck. And I've not seen one all week here while I've been here the last few days in North American that's maybe balanced up quite as nice as this. She's so laid in her shoulder. She's got a beautiful hip and hind leg and just tremendously sound. And it's really easy to see the foot quality and the soundness in this heifer as she comes in, but just balance and quality and just striking look. This heifer really catches your attention. I want to commend him and the breeder of this heifer for having such a good one, but very, very easy class winner, can stand a lot of competition.
We move into our calf pair show here, and this is good stuff. We get these cows in production, and I want to commend you exhibitors for bringing these things out as pairs, because I'm probably the smallest fan of showing cow-calf pairs as anyone, but there's nothing better than a good one when you're over here evaluating them in the ring. And, you know, I think these two pairs were out of different classes, so we're going to talk each pair individually, and then I'll show you the way I prefer to place them. This pair out of our first class here, just absolutely an awesome pair. These females here, both of them, mama and daughter, are both just so smooth in their makeup. They're so elegant. You know, their cattle, the heifer calf and the cow are both extremely sound structured. You know, you just look at this cow, you look at her udder, and you think this is what the show heifers are supposed to look like after we get finished showing them. That heifer calf right there is going to have a pretty good little career, I'd say, as well. Awfully good pair. Pair out of our second class. A young man's brought us a cow here, a little longer spine than the cow in the first class, probably a shot more hip. But, you know, I think a cow that maybe doesn't blend her pieces quite as nicely, but she is nursing a big, stout heifer calf here, one that looks a lot like her mother. I think a pair here, when we want power and stoutness, this cow probably offers the advantage there. All in all, though, both these pairs are very useful. They're very good. For your champion pair, it's going to be the one out of the first class. Congratulations.
By far our best division we've seen out here yet tonight. Very, very high quality heifer that wins the first class, and by far our most competitive class. This heifer is such a wide-based, big-bodied heifer that's going to be an easy keeper. She's going to be a tremendous cow, and I just love how balanced she is from the side. She might have a little bit of throat. She might have a little bit more coarseness up there through her head and neck, but just a tremendous cow in the making. And this young man, I'll tell you what, I haven't seen too many better than her this week as I've been walking through the barns. This heifer is just so nice. She's so high quality. I love her head. I love her neck. I love this heifer's body. She's tremendous in terms of the balance and the quality she carries. Her hip and hind legs tremendous. The heifer gets around the ring with both ends just tremendously well, and just an easy one to find. This heifer is going to be our division champion. Our reserve will be our first class winner.
And over in your Limousine, show your first place in Class 17 cow-calves and automatic division and grand champion cow-calf pair. Goes to entry number 109, ELCX Kate 332K, exhibited by Carter Corgay of Tulsa, Oklahoma. And second place in that class and reserve division and reserve grand champion goes to entry at number 111, Otto Hazel ET, exhibited by Jackson Kidd of Sandy Hook, Kentucky. Congratulations.
We get these females back out here to pick you a grand champion female, and I commend you guys for doing this. I like this when we get these pairs out here at the end to compete against the females, and you like it a lot more as a judge when you got cattle like these three. I tell you what, we just stand back, we look at the quality, we look at the maternal look of these females here, and they're right on track, guys. And I'm not going to say a lot about the cattle, but I'll just leave you with this. It's always fun to see them when they get into production and they still look like show cows. Young lady, you're going to be our champion over here.
very high quality single entry over here. Probably the best uddered female we've seen walk through here today. Tremendous balance, tremendous quality, just super feminine and very maternal in her look. Just a heifer that it's very easy to see as she walks out. Anybody can tell you she's sound, she's big bodied, she's going to be a tremendous cow prospect, and just love how high quality that heifer is.
And your Supreme female over in your Limousine show goes entry number 109. ELCKX Kate 332K, exhibited by Carter Corgay of Tulsa, Oklahoma. Congratulations. And over in your Gelbvieh Balancer side, first place in Class 10 goes to entry number 46, exhibited by Avery Moon of Ellensburg, Washington. And that will, and your division champion.
Very impressive Gelbvieh show over here, and we haven't had the biggest numbers, but I tell you what, the quality has not lacked. Very, very high quality calf here down here on the end this fall, late fall calf. Just love how she's patterned. She's very angular. She's very, very balanced from the side. She's very straight in her top line. I love how she gets around the ring. But honestly, the laid back shoulder and the angulation to her shoulder is probably as good as anything that stands in this ring. I truly admire that, and that heifer totally has a good foot underneath her. This young lady might be bragging on her a little bit too much, but she's a great showman. She's unbelievable. She's got a great heifer. She's thick, she's powerful, she's wide-based, and probably the stoutest heifer out here in this lineup. But this young lady's got a lot of future in front of her. Not only does her heifer as well, but I tell you what, I'm going to brag on that girl quite a bit. She's a great showman. The young man, as I told him earlier, I said, are you in the right show? This heifer looks like she could be in the Angus show, the Maine show, the Key show, the Simmental show, whatever it is. This heifer's so high quality. She's so beautiful through her head and neck. She's laid into her shoulder so beautifully. This heifer's great hipped, great hind leg, just gets out and moves. And this young man ought to be ready, because I think this heifer is going to generate some income for him down the road, because this heifer is just maybe one of the best Gelbvieh females I've seen. This heifer here on the end, as I talked, the best underlined heifer we've seen all day. I think this heifer's moderate. She's big-bodied. She's going to be a low-maintenance female that just doesn't take much to run. And I tell you what, I love cattle like that. I just can't tell you she can beat a few of these out here, but I love cattle like that. She's big-bodied. She's easy fleshing. She's going to be an easy one to maintain. So sound, so long-strided. That's where we differ. We have to draw our lines with cattle that are sound, functional, long-strided, and good cattle. But we have a show here, and there's some good heifers out here. So I want to let you know that I think a lot of that heifer. But let's give these guys a big round of applause. Let's give them a hand, and I'll go pick our champions.
And your grand champion balancer female here at the North American goes to entry number 46, Butler's Miss Lola 133L, exhibited by Avon Moon of Ellensburg, Washington. Congratulations. And your reserve grand champion Ballinger female goes inch number 30, Butler's Miss Layla 28L9, exhibited by Butler Creek Farms of Milton, Tennessee. Congratulations. And over in your Gelbvieh Bull Show, please note that Class 1 is a scratch, so we will be moving with Class 3 Junior Bull Calves over in your Gelbvieh Bull Show.
Heck of a way to start off our bull show. This black bull, just tremendous in terms of his skeletal design. He gets out and reaches off both ends so well. I love his conventional body and rib shape, just totally perfect from his forerib back to his flank. He's very, very strong in his top line and very well balanced. This bull, his sheath lays in him nice. You could say he's got just a tick extra, but I think it actually lays in him very nicely. This bull, I think, has a lot of future in front of him. The red bull, very, very long-bodied, very high-performing, more extended than the bull that wins the class. Doesn't have as much depth of body, doesn't have as much forerib and flank as the bull that wins the class, but a bull that definitely has the length and look and high-quality presence of our class winner. Just like to see more softness and body in this bull.
And placings over in your Gelbvieh Bull Show. And placings for your Gelbvieh Bull Show. First place in Class 3 goes to entry at number 23, Butler's War Dog. 549 M2, exhibited by Butler Creek Farms of Milton, Tennessee. And that will be your automatic division champion. And first place in Class 5 goes entry number 24, JNCC Shoot to Thrill, 3851, exhibited by Nowak Cattle Company of Owensville, Missouri. That one will also be automatic division, and your grand champion bull goes to entry number 23, exhibited by Butler Creek's Farm of Milton, Tennessee. And your reserve grand champion bull goes to entry number 24, exhibited by Nowak Cattle Company of Owensville, Missouri.
Very good place to start here with the single entry. Very extended, very, very exotic in his look. This bull's so long fronted. He's very extended through his neck and shoulders. This bull maybe breaks just a tick behind his shoulder, but I love his hip and hind leg. this bull's got some unique pieces I think will add to the Gelbvieh breed, but we'll see how he stacks up against his competition here in just a bit.
And first place in Class 1 of your Balancer Bulls goes to entry number 50, a DNF Iced Out, exhibited by Caitlin Newton of Westminster, South Carolina. Now entering the ring will be Class 3 of your Balancer Bulls.
I'm going to use the cleaner made bull of this pair. They're both thick, they're both rugged, they're both extended in terms of their body length. They're both sound. I like this bull's extension through his front end. I like his added look through his neck and shoulder and his head. This bull's maybe just a little bit straighter in his shoulder in second, and that's what throws him back just a notch. But I do think they're both very, very functional, rugged-made, powerful bulls. But I do like the structural soundness and the added length of stride this bull has here in first. But congratulations to both breeders, both exhibitors.
And first place in Class 3 and Automatic Division Champion goes entry number 52, exhibited by Paris Cattle Farms of Canton, North Carolina. And your second place in Reserve Division goes entry number 502, exhibited by Paris Cattle Farms of Canton, North Carolina.
Very high quality single entry bull. Love the softness this bull has as he comes in the ring. His feet and legs are so good. He gets out and hits his stride so well. I love the softness of his spine. I love how angular he is in his shoulder. He's up-headed. He's a very, very attractive bull that I think easily stands out, and it'll be fun to see him back in here with our champion lineup, but very high quality bull.
And first place in Class number 6 and Automatic Division Champion goes entry number 53, DNF Addicted to Diamonds, exhibited by Caitlin Newton of Westminster, South Carolina. Congratulations. And at this time, we are ready to move into your first class of Limousine Bulls. Again, we're ready for Class 19 Limousine Bulls to be making their way into the ring.
A good way to end our Gelbvieh show tonight. Just tremendous quality, tremendous people, tremendous breeders that come out here and show us what they got. The bull calf out here, just tremendous in terms of his look and his quality and his style and balance. Beautiful front end in that bull. Maybe just a little bit green in his look and needs a little bit more time to mass up and power up, but a bull that I think will definitely have an opportunity to change some Gelbvieh females. The bull that wins the second division, just very rugged, very functional. He's sound, he's high quality. He's maybe a bull that doesn't quite hit you real hard in terms of his balance and his profile, but a bull that's thick, he's powerful, just a bull that you easily find when you go out here and judge these classes. This bull that wins the last division, very, very high quality. I just love the way this bull looks. He's so extended through his front end while still maintaining some forerib, some depth of flank. This bull's level hipped and has a great rear leg. I think this bull's easy to find out here in this lineup. Let's give him a quick round of applause. I'll go here and pick our champion in reserve, but tremendous show all day, and I sure want to thank the North American and the Gelbvieh Association for letting me have the opportunity today. It's been a pleasure.
And your grand champion balancer bull here at the North American goes entry number 53, DNF, Addicted to Diamonds, exhibited by Caitlin Newton of Westminster, South Carolina. Congratulations. And your reserve grand champion goes to entry number 50, a DNF Iced Out, exhibited by a Caitlin Newton of Westminster, South Carolina. Congratulations, and congratulations to all Gelbvieh balancers on a successful show here at the North American. And your herdsman over here in your Gelbvieh balancer show goes to Pleasant Meadow Farms from Kentucky. Congratulations. And your premier exhibitor goes to Molly Anderson. Congratulations. And your premier breeder goes to Butler Creek Farms of Milton, Tennessee. Again, congratulations to all those exhibitors.
So a good way to start off our bull show here. Good pair of bulls here. And I tell you what, I like both these guys here a great deal. I'll tell you how I see them. We're going to leave them standing like they are. Bull here in the first hole to me just reads like a bull. He's got some masculinity to him. Along with that, he's got some power. He's big-topped. He's big-hipped. When we watch him go away from us, he's got a lot of base width down low. He gets out and strides on a good big foot. Got some width down at the ground as well. Just very complete. Very nice bull. The bull in second here, I tell you what, this guy's got a wild look to him. He's so neat there about his head and his neck. He's really clean up front. He's a bull from the side. You study his outline, and you like his underline. You like the shape this one has to his hip. He's extra big-footed and big-boned. When he gets on the go, he wants to drag them rear two just a little bit. Wants to get just a notch narrower at the ground, and I just don't know if there's quite as much sheer muscle when we get right behind him. But nevertheless, this bull is extremely high quality. What a way to start the bull show.
And first place in class number 19 over your Limousine Bull Show and Automatic Division Champion goes to entry number 99, TASF Masterclass 846M, exhibited by Thomas and Son Farms of Boonesboro, Maryland. And second place in that class goes to entry number 101, PRF Maverick ET, exhibited by Permission Ridge Farm of Magnolia, Kentucky. And entry number 100 was a scratch.
A pair of October bulls here, only 2 days separating them in their age here. And with that, we look at them, and we're going to leave them standing like they come in here. Bull up front, one just has the advantage in terms of performance and just overall mass. I think a bull that's got a nice look to him, and up to his front 1/3, he's got some rib, but he's still got some muscle and some masculinity to go along with it. Bull here in second, coming at us, maybe not quite as far along in terms of condition as that bull out of the first class, but I don't hold that against him. I think this is a bull that's still really level down his top line. He's a bull that's got a big stout hip in him. Just gives up some of the overall mass and power of the one in front of him, but a good pair of fall bull calves.
And placings in class number 20 and automatic division champion goes to entry number 105, KLCS MK Smooth Talker, 109L, exhibited by Keely Campbell Suits of Danville, Georgia. And second place Annual Reserve Division goes to entry number 106, FRBR Lorenzo 358L, exhibited by a friend brother Limousine, Duck, West Virginia. Congratulations. Now in the ring is class 21 Limousine Bulls.
Well, a single entry April bull here, but one that sure could stand some competition. This guy's got an awesome look to him. He's masculine, but he's still so clean about his neck and tidy down into his chest floor. Just a bull that's awesome in terms of his rib shape. When we get in front of him or behind him, so much curve to his rib cage. He's got a big hip, very athletic when we get him out on the go. That's just a really good single entry.
And first place in class 21 in automatic division champion goes to entry number 107, Sherlin BLC Lazarus ET, exhibited by Kaylee Sherlin of Goodland, Kansas. We are now ready for the selection of your grand champion limousine bull here at the North American. Now entering the ring will be the selection of your grand champion limousine bull selection.
We're winding her down here. I am going to run through these bulls real quick and talk them since they were all automatic divisions and compare them to one another. This bull calf up front, super balanced, super complete, and I think he's a bull. The longer you look at him, the more you appreciate him because he blends his pieces together so very well. I really like how smooth his muscle is to have the amount he does when we get around behind him. Nothing but a bright future for that calf right there. I'd be really excited if I had a piece of him, if I owned a piece of that bull because that's good stuff right there. This bull out of this second division, powerful performance kind of bull for me. He's got a little more frame to him, really big-footed and big boned, super long-necked. I wish he held his top line a little stronger on the go. He wants to break some there and get just a little easy in his top. But I think all in all, the bull that is certainly big outlined. He's got some performance, good animal. Bull out of our third division here, the older bull. Bull that's extremely smooth. He's awesome necked, awesome down his top line, out his hip. He's a bull that just blends his pieces together extremely well. I guess he's a bull for me. You question, he's a bit more moderate, and I think he probably is. But there's place in the world for a lot of moderate cattle because they're very efficient. So, with that being said, I don't hold it against him. Once again, thanks for giving me the opportunity to come out here. I'll pick you a pair of champions, and we'll wind things down for the evening. Congratulations, exhibitors.
And your grand champion limousine bull here at the North American goes into number 107, Shireen BLC Lazarus, exhibited by Kaylin Shireen of Goodland, Kansas. Congratulations. And your reserve grand champion bull goes into number 99, TASF Masterclass 846M, exhibited by Thomas and Son Farms of Boonesboro, Maryland. Congratulations to those exhibitors. And again, congratulations to all limousine exhibitors for a successful show here at the North American. And that will conclude our shows here in Broadbent Arena for this evening. We will be back here at 8 o'clock sharp tomorrow morning. Again, we'll start the show at 8 o'clock sharp tomorrow morning.